Hi, welcome to Polyphonic Press. I'm Jeremy Boyd, and today I'm going to be reviewing Tuesday Night Music Club by Sheryl Crow. Here we go. In 1993, Sheryl Crow was known in the music industry as a backup singer. She sang for people like Michael Jackson, Don Henley, and Joe Cocker. And if you've ever seen the documentary on Netflix called 20 Feet From Stardom, you know that backup singers are generally considered just part of the band. The real star is the singer they're supporting. In the early 1990s, she recorded an album, however, it was decided between her and her record label that the album was not worthy of a release. It was considered too overproduced and too pop-sounding. This likely would have been the death of her career, and she would have been just a blip on the musical radar. While she was a backup singer, every Tuesday night, a group of musicians would get together and jam and write songs. Eventually, Sheryl Crow was invited to these sessions. And many of the collaborators were impressed with Crow's ability to write songs, and they started working to put together an album for her. After the album's release, however, tensions between the other songwriters began to show, and they claimed that they contributed more to the work than what was credited on the album. The claim was that Crow was given a bigger share of the publishing rights to motivate her to work harder to write songs. The production on Tuesday Night Music Club, however, was very stripped down and raw, relying more on organic instruments rather than synthesizers and drum machines. After the 80s, this album helped to define the sound of the 90s. Bands like The Wallflowers and Hootie and the Blowfish owe a lot to this album for ushering in the roots rock revival of the mid-1990s. The first single released from the album was the song Run Baby Run. This was a song that the record company really believed in and would be a huge hit, but unfortunately the single failed to catch any attention, and radio stations weren't really playing it, and MTV didn't put it into heavy rotation, only really playing it once or twice a day. However, in the spring of 1994, All I Wanna Do was released, and it managed to pick up a lot of steam, and suddenly Sheryl Crow had a hit. It was a song she co-wrote with the other members of the Tuesday Night Music Club, and I think the biggest reason that this song took off was because it was something new and fresh. For the first few years of the 90s in rock, the sound was dominated by grunge, with bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam. Hard, heavy guitar, screaming vocals, and big, loud drums. Although that sound is great, I think the time was right for this song to be a hit because people needed a break from that. So you had an influx of bands suddenly having hits that featured acoustic guitars and a much more mellow sound. This song and this album just seemed to come out at the right time, and suddenly Sheryl Crow was at the forefront of a new era in music. The follow-up single, Leaving Las Vegas, also did really well. There was a bit of a controversy surrounding this song. The title came from a book by John O'Brien, who was a good friend of David Berwald, a co-writer of the song. However, when Crow went on The Late Show with David Letterman, she claimed the song was autobiographical, and this infuriated Berwald. Shortly after her appearance on Letterman, John O'Brien committed suicide. However, his family released a statement saying that the incident was not related to his death. And I personally don't think there was any malicious intent with Sheryl Crow saying that. I think she was just young and was giving an answer that sounded good, and it also could have been her being nervous to be on television for the first time. I really don't think she realized the damage that it would do to the other songwriters, but I don't know her personally, and I can't say for sure. The song Strong Enough was a high-charting single from the album as well, and solidified Sheryl Crow as not just a flash in the pan, and really gave her credibility as a legitimate singer-songwriter. I think it could have been very easy for Sheryl Crow to become a one-hit wonder with the song All I Wanna Do. The fact that the follow-up singles were so well received is a huge testament to her staying power. It's extremely unfortunate that the rest of the songwriting collective, known as the Tuesday Night Music Club, were so hurt by the success of the debut album by Sheryl Crow. But it just seems to me like a sign of jealousy, and I think there are some talented songwriters in the group, and if they were to focus their energy instead on creating great music, they might have had some successful projects on their own. But credit was given where it was due, and they shared the publishing of those songs, and to be honest, I can't really hear anyone else singing these songs the way that Sheryl does. It's still her voice, and she helped write these songs. She wouldn't sing them if she didn't believe in the quality of the songs. And Sheryl Crow had the right voice for the songs and the right personality to be the front person of this band. It was very clear that she's the star, and perhaps the other members simply couldn't handle the fame that came along with it. But putting the bitterness aside, they managed to make one of the greatest albums of the 90s, and it's fun, thoughtful, and endearing to listen to. It's an album that's almost 25 years old and still sounds fresh and exciting now as it did when it came out. And a lot of that has to do with the songs and the stripped down production. So thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and so you know when I post new videos, and check out my Instagram and Twitter and linked in the description, and that's about it. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.